My name is Miriam Clegg and I'm Principal Investigator on the Food for Years Ageing Network. So we're here today at the University of Reading to learn a bit more about why food and nutrition is so important when we age. So we know here in the UK that 1 in 10 older people suffer from malnutrition. We know that in the last 2 centuries that our life expectancy has increased considerably. What we really want is that those years that we have, those extra years of life that we have, that we can live them in good health. And at the moment that's not necessarily happening. So we have this extended life expectancy, but we're not necessarily enjoying those years as much as we possibly can. So we know that nutrition across the life course is really important, and there's key stages in our lives where we can really make a difference. One of those is as we get older, and even small changes now can have a really big impact on our health as we age. Important parts of health that we're really interested in terms of diet and that can be changed with diet are things like cognitive health, musculoskeletal health, our gut health, and also in terms of maintaining a healthy weight as you age as well.
So in terms of cognitive health, there are 2 separate situations which can occur with you with age. So there's typical cognitive aging, which is a slow decline in your cognitive functionality as you reach your later years, typically around 70 years plus. Or there's an atypical aging form of cognitive health where there's pathological processes occurring in the brain where there's deterioration of certain structures and certain domains which lead to a lot faster declines in cognitive functionality. If we deal with the nutrients first, so we've got macronutrients such as lipids and fats, and the ones of particular interest are the long-chain polyunsaturated fatty acids, particularly a compound called DHA or docosahexaenoic acid, which is found in oily fish and actually can also be found in algae. We have micronutrients, particularly the B vitamins, which allow for a better energy generation within the brain. And we have the non-nutrients, and the non-nutrients typically are those which are associated with fibre intake. The ones that we work on here are called polyphenols or flavonoids, and they provide a better blood flow to the brain. So if you're commonly consuming those, then you're going to get a better blood flow to the brain. That's going to mean better oxygen delivery, better nutrient delivery, and better cognitive function. The hydration is very important from the brain, and we see that as an example of endurance athletes who don't hydrate well. They can not only become fatigued, but also very confused. And we know from the physiology work that we do that neurons and participating glial cells within the brain need to be well hydrated in order that they can perform their functions.
So musculoskeletal health covers 2 main aspects, our bone health and our muscle health. And as we get older, whether we're male or female, we lose both bone and muscle. The nutrients that are really critical for musculoskeletal health are firstly calcium. So either ensuring that calcium through dairy products, milk and dairy products, but it's perfectly possible to have a calcium-rich diet following a non-dairy intake. So that would be going to plant-based milks, many of which are now fortified with calcium and indeed vitamin D, but looking at other suppliers of calcium in the body, like your nuts and your seeds, or white flour in the United Kingdom, of course, is fortified with calcium. Aligned to that, of course, if we're talking about calcium, then we should also talk about vitamin D, because the 2 of them have tended to be researched a great deal together. They work in synergy. So for example, if we have low vitamin D status, that is likely to have an impact on calcium absorption, because vitamin D status is very important to helping our bodies absorb calcium. So of course we know between October and March there is insufficient UV light of the right wavelength to allow us to make vitamin D. So we know in areas of northern latitude, people will be at risk of vitamin D insufficiency or deficiency. So taking your vitamin D supplement, and then of course between April and September, making sure that you get some UV light exposure, about 20 minutes per day, with about 10% of your body exposed, so your face, the backs of your hands and your neck, to allow you to make some vitamin D without any sun cream on or moisture or clothing on that skin that is exposed. But a third one, of course, would be protein. So protein is critical to bone, it's critical to muscle function. And as we get older, we want to make sure that we have really good quality protein in our diet, and that we ensure that we are eating enough in able to support our muscle and bone tissues.
So Lisa, do you want to tell us why maintaining healthy weight is really important in later life?
Why do you want to maintain a healthy weight? Because you want to maintain function, don't you? You want to do all the things in your life that are still fun as well as daily activities.
So could you possibly tell us a little bit about the reasons behind this loss of appetite and what we could possibly do to prevent this?
Yeah, no, it's a difficult one actually, because there's kind of lots of different reasons. So some of them are changes that are kind of what I think we think of as kind of a change with age that's almost not preventable. And some are very specific physiological changes that happen to certain people, but there's also some social reasons as well. So if I try to break that down then, so we've got, for most people, we get a change in our gut hormones. So the things that kind of signal for us to be full or to be hungry again, and that can change a little bit as we get older.
So my key opinion about that is maintaining the gut health, but more than motility, it's also your composition.
So what do you mean by that?
So what happens is our intestine is colonized by trillions of bacteria, viruses, fungi, which we refer to as the microbiome.
Yes.
And the composition of this microbiome also changes in later life. So each individual has a really unique microbiome. And what I mean by this is the diversity of these different compositions, as well as the abundance, which is really important when we say you have a healthy microbiome or a healthy gut.
So if I'm saying that I think fibre is important for the motility bit to try to get the hunger back, hopefully fibre's still okay for the microbiome?
It is one of the most important components there. So how our microbiome works is it can digest this fibre and produce molecules that go and signal to other parts of our body system. So it can go and signal to the muscle, brain, immune system and tell them how to function or how to develop. So dietary fibers is a key component on how our microbiome breaks it down and signals to the rest of the body.